Hi everyone, so I'm going to be posting this later today. I have a direct message for someone here, and I can also say that this is a channel message for a lot of people, at least this beginning part that I'm going to tell you, which is to check the link below. I'm going to look after I'm done recording this for a video that shows how to properly do CPR and just familiarize yourself with it or refamiliarize yourself if you are someone who is certified, because that's something that's been bothering me lately. It feels like that's something that someone who's going to see this video is going to need to know. That's not to frighten you. It could also mean that maybe this compels you to tell someone that you have watched a video on CPR, or you've been thinking about it, whatever, and maybe that's going to prompt them to prepare themselves as well, because it's just good to know. It's good to be aware of that. So if there was a circumstance where maybe it's someone you know or it's a stranger that may need immediate help, then you will know ahead of time what to do. It will be ingrained in you already. And so even if you don't act immediately, which it is very important for you to do so, then maybe that will at least prompt you to have a little bit more confidence in doing so when instructed to do so, or even to instruct another person. So that's mainly the message that I have to share. But I did want to talk about how intense this message is, particularly for me, especially for today, is because I was going to do a pick a card reading, and then it switched over to doing the original pick a card reading that I wanted to do was, what's your vibe? Like, what kind of energy do you give off? How do people perceive you? Just like a fun pick a card reading like that. And it immediately started switching over, and I kept thinking about the CPR, and I was thinking, okay, well, I'll negotiate. I will do the CPR. I'll mention at the beginning of the pick a card reading. And then it moved even more to Archangel Michael and to a message of light. And I was thinking, okay, so I'll do it at the beginning of that. And so I started preparing. I got my piles ready. They're sitting in front of me. And every time I went to speak and record like the intro, I could not get my words out. I kept just jumbling up and skipping around. I could not speak properly. And so it isn't until I finally am recording this is my first, actually it's my second try, because I was still looking at my piles, but this is my first official try at talking about this necessity to familiarize yourself with CPR, that it feels like this is really the way in which I was supposed to do it. And so I'm going to continue with this channeled reading. And so if you feel like sticking through, maybe there's a message here for you. I'm hearing that this is a message from your guardian angels. It isn't in particular Archangel Michael, however, he is here. Groundedness, armadillo, and then we have I don't know how to say it. I've never actually paid attention to Pisces, Vesica Pisces, possibly. I know it's not spelled, but anyway. And you're on the right path. Archangel Michael says, I call upon, well, this is the prayer. So Archangel Michael, I call upon you now. Thank you for giving me loud and clear guidance that I easily understand. Thank you for motivating me and filling me with the courage and confidence to make healthful life changes. And so I do feel like this is this immediate recognition, and it's number 26 and 7, and I feel like 7 going into 26 is a significant meaning there. So let's see, 26 minus 7, what is that? 19 9 plus, yeah, I think it's 19. So maybe 19, 9, 10, so 1 could potentially also be another significant number here. But what I'm getting here is this feeling of confirmation. It's a feeling of confirmation, whether it's something that I just said or something that is, it's something that I said already. It's something that I said. There's confirmation, a deep confirmation in there. And then I'm getting this song by Selena Gomez. I'm not sure the title. I needed to lose you to love me, and I'll link that below as well. So there's a significance there as well. It feels, and then I heard the word toiling. So it's like someone who has been working and working, toiling and toiling, and that's you. You've been working and working and working, and there's this feeling of coming to the forefront. It's like I've been working, I've been preparing for this, I've been working on this all my life, and now it's like passing the buck to, it's almost like, it's like my training is now being put into action. What I was going to say is like to the next person. It's like your next generation. It's like your child, you know, this is symbolically what I'm seeing is you working so hard and then giving it to the next person. And I'm also seeing that this could be confirmation of someone who has passed away, who has left you with some sort of inheritance that you are now taking care of, you are now preparing, because they're bringing me back biblically to Ecclesiastes, and Ecclesiastes was actually coming to my mind the past couple days as well, and I thought it was a very interesting chapter in the Bible, an interesting book in the Bible, because it's, to me, a representative of an individual whom is at his dying days and is reflecting. It actually reminds me of William Shakespeare, the to be, to not to be, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of, you know, there's suicide, considering suicide, but there's a familiarity in that, in the sense of kind of questioning life and questioning like what's important, what isn't, and at the end of the day, what are you left with? And when you leave, what are you left with? And when you come in, what have you gained? And those that are here, like what do they? It's just all of that. I would suggest also reading Ecclesiastes, or I was gonna say listening to it. So maybe if you look up something about it, and so. That's a lot of the energy that I'm picking up here, is this questioning of inheritance and of the things that are left behind, and you know, whether it's appreciated or not, or whether it's understood or not, or and what's important and what isn't. And what I'm seeing here is this recognition, this understanding of like healing. I'm seeing healing energy. And what's causing this healing is understanding that what you've done, I'm hearing, is like what I've done is okay. What I've done is enough. Like it's okay, as in period. Like that's it. Like absolute. It's enough. I am on the right path, and the things that I have done that have all led me to this healing path. And then they're telling me pile one. They're telling me pile one, because I told you I had that. So you are pile one. Should I start the reading? What do I do here in this particular situation? I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm gonna do pile one, but what do I do with the other piles? What do I do with like this? We're just gonna do this, I guess. I think I know what I'll do. But anyway, okay, so we have confidence and enlightenment. Exactly. Because enlightenment is really about wisdom and about healing. Healing yourself is through wisdom is achieved through healing, right? It's like when you're looking at the past and you have these emotions associated with it and connected with it. And I'm hearing again, it's like everything's getting washed away. Like everything that I'm saying, everything that's occurring right in the second, it's like that feeling of enlightenment where everything just washes over you and you're not even aware of anything that I'm saying. You're not aware of anything going on, and you're hearing, you're okay. You're okay. is what I'm saying. Like, have confidence, like you are okay, you are on the right path. And it's the groundedness of all of that which has occurred through lifetimes for your experiences. It's all grounding in this moment right now. That's what's happening. It's like lifetime after lifetime of wisdom, of experiences. That's how you're achieving this enlightenment and this union, this internal union of your present moment, your present experience, your present life, and everything which has already occurred, and all that is which is going to occur, and how that comes into this moment right now, into the present. And what they're saying again with the healing energy is that you're not associating feelings with the things that have caused you pain in the past, or even created like energy, like something that's like propelling you too much forward. It's almost like you're kind of feeding off of it. It's like you're looking at this as information gathering, right? It's neither this nor that. This is the facts and this is the details around it. It's just information gathering. And then what do I do with this? That's how you create text, because I'm seeing wisdom, then I'm seeing text, then I'm seeing the Bible. And it's all kind of the same, because it's like your book of knowledge. Like, that's your book of knowledge. This is what happened. This is what occurred. This is the stories. And this is where I go. Or this is my guidebook. This is how I understand. This is how I interpret. It's all of this kind of coming in. And I'm noticing the shield, the armor, the shield. And then this is the armadillo. Another shielding energy. But it's not in a sense of defensiveness, and it's in a protectiveness of saying, like, in confidence, this is who I am. What are you gonna do about it? I'm not attacking you. I'm not defending myself. I'm simply being. I'm simply me. I'm simply existing. What are you gonna do? Like, what's up, you know? And I'm noticing she's a cheetah. She looks like a cheetah. And this man looks very masculine, aware, intuitive, methodical, and strong, very strong. And I'm seeing this as a partnership. It's you and another individual. And I'm seeing this as both you. So it's also kind of the same thing here, in the sense of two complete souls uniting to create this next. We talked about we talked about at the beginning of a lineage, right? So this could potentially be something acknowledging this next step that could be happening for you in the near future, or what has happened is being highlighted here, and protecting this energy, protecting this young soul, this young individual. However, I do see two complete energies. They look like energies to me. They're represented here as people, but I'm visually seeing this as two energies, two light beings, and they're actually at a distance with the armadillo in the center. The armadillo seems like the world, so it's a physical difference, this heaviness that represents this energy field of the world, and the practicality, because we can't just kind of physically zip around, right? Like, we have to obey the natural law of physics in this world. And so it's that feeling of two individual light beings that are connected spiritually and are communicating, and I'm hearing the word astitute, like they're both very aware and sharpened, and they're connecting on a different plane, on a spiritual plane, on the most it's actually the most pure plane, right? The most this is the how do I explain this? It's like I mean, when I don't even have to explain, I don't think, in fully, because if this resonates with you, you know exactly, you're like, yeah, you know, like you can complete my sentence, so that's fine, whatever. I'm just gonna leave it at, like, don't leave it at that. They're like, don't leave it at that. Pull another card and leave it at that. 33, soul love. I'm getting hot. And 43, and again 10, which I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I'm like, where are the numbers? I didn't see any of the numbers because I'm holding one of them. I didn't see them. But anyway, so 10 to 1. Okay, so anyway, they're showing me how it's like a blurb, I don't know, or blurb, where, okay, so I've talked about this before, but like when I was younger, I would stare into the mirror and I would get visions, and it would just kind of like that, like kind of like fade in, fade out in the mirror. And I see this, and then they're comparing it to in adulthood. So now, sometimes it's like when I get into such a deep meditative space, that's kind of how it happens still, where like in that deep meditation, it's just absolute acceptance of everything, just absolute presence and acceptance. And it's when I do that and I suspend myself in that energy, I know 100% someone's watching this through its entirety. I know this is for you. I know what I'm telling you is like 100% on point. 97%. I'm in the 90 percentile. Okay, now I brought it down a little bit. It's actually the upper 90 percentile of accuracy on this. Okay, and those of you who are like, no, there are definitely still messages in here. But there's someone here that this is in the 97% percentile of accuracy in here. The details are like very minuscule that I'm getting off, if I'm getting off on incorrect on anything, which I don't even think it would be like it. I don't even want to, it's like, anyway, moving on. So it's like this, it's that same energy where like when I suspend myself in that, then it unlocks everything. It unlocks literally like anything you ever needed to know or wants to know is accessible. And it's in that moment, just everything just makes sense. And it's when you come out of it, right, then it's kind of being pulled back in, like sucked back into this world, and kind of compartmentalizing that information. It's like I have to sit in this information to kind of bring myself elevated to be at peace with that, or sometimes, you know, it's like, you get what I'm saying? And so I'm seeing that this has happened to you in the sense that you have seen your future. You have seen this soul love. You have connected. You have both connected the polarity. No more. It's the unity, the internal unity, and this enlightenment of seeing, like, this is your eyeball. Like, look at this as your eyeball, and you seeing not just the world, you're seeing how everything operates, how everything works, and that this is real, this is true, this is meaningful, this is intense, this is it. And again, have confidence you're on the right path. Like, this is true, this is accurate. And it's normal to get caught up in the details, the fine details, and like the armadillo, right, of how this can come together, right? It's like what is the miraculous intervention in this, right? It's like when I talked about at one point of like how miracles often work through people, and how you have to answer that calling, that feeling, in order to kind of deliver those messages, and how it's just, you never really know how it all works out in some way or another, but it ends up working out. And you just have to have confidence in that. And I'm also being drawn to understanding sometimes that the distance that has occurred and that process of bringing back together, those distances are happening because of the fact that there are so many of these worldly things that can affect this pure spiritual connection. It would infect it. I mean, it could never be infected. True love can never fall into temptation. It can never be seduced by temptation in all essence of in all meanings of temptation. But I will say specifically, it's like, you know, you have to worry about, right, like currently, like maybe you have to worry about your finances, and that's a distraction, right? That's a distraction from the spiritual connection. Maybe you're worried about like getting your hair done, you're worried about like your weight, you're worried about like just like worldly things that like don't even really matter, but in some way, like obviously your finances matter because you have to survive and live and all, so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? And so that is imagine having to heal that, fix that, you know, with this partner. I mean, in one way you could look at it and say, oh, I would love that. We could build together. We could, you know, unconditional love, all this and that. I want them right now. But that's not your path. And you know that. Like, you have to believe that as you're working and developing these things, when you come together, it's less of that mess. It's a less of this world. Not saying you're a mess, this world, but the world and all of the like problems and all of the conditioning that's thrown on us. And it brings me back to that Selena Gomez song and her, and how like she still is trying to kind of come into her own and say, you know, it's like battling people who criticize her appearance. And at the end of the day, it's like, it doesn't matter what people say. Like, even if she was a certain way, it's just an observation or an opinion. It literally does not matter. And so the closer you get to even understanding that, which you've already felt and understood and know, right? You're already in that. The more that you're in this enlightenment stage, you're more in this wise space, the more that you are practicing this meditative thing that's bringing you into this soul connection, because that's essentially what this connection spiritually is doing. Like, the more that you're connecting and connecting and connecting spiritually, the more that it's pulling you to heal, the more that it's pulling you to understand, like, it doesn't matter. Because the more that you understand how little that matters, and how it's more of just like taking, again, with like wisdom, and taking your opinion out of it, taking your feelings out of it, the more that you can kind of just operate in a more loving space, a more soulful space, and not take things so personally, and not over identify yourself with other people's conditioning, other people's opinion, your prior conditioning, and all of this. You will suspend yourself deeper into love. You will suspend yourself deeper into spirituality. You will suspend yourself even beyond whomever this king is that was in Ecclesiastes. I mean, he gets it, but he doesn't quite get it, and he talks different time, different energy, whatever. Not trying to criticize the Bible, obviously, but my interpretation of that is essentially it's a representation of the process that people could potentially go through and experience and try and reach and understand what we're talking about here. So it's just a way to kind of frame it in a place where it's familiar. It's like people have gone through this for ages and ages and ages and ages. It's not to take what they're saying, you know, eat, drink, be merry, all that stuff that's in Ecclesiastes. And like, I do want to mention this, and this is side note, but also not really, because hold on. You know who this person is. You know who they are, right? Like this soul connection, like you know, you know their name, you know, or you know their face. Like you actually know them and they're watching you. They are watching you. And I cannot draw myself away from this light that I feel here. Like it's like piercing this falcon. And I noticed it here, and it was like it's on the man. It's on the man. And so the masculine in this is the attitude. Is very, very, very aware and can feel this. Very aware, very spiritual, and like very manly, like masculine, in their masculine, like very, very spiritual. They will build for you, is what I'm hearing. They will build for you. It's like, first of all, with this, it's beauty. It's this feeling of you don't know how attractive you are. Like you don't really see that, and it kind of keeps bringing me back to the things that I was saying, where it's like some details in your life, you're just being a little too, it's like this, okay? Like for me personally, like I can lose a couple pounds. I'm working on it, okay? But it's not that big of a deal, right? Like I'm healthy. And so it's not, I mean, technically I guess it would be affecting my health because it's more than I need, but it's not, I'm not at a condition where it's too much or whatever, you know? And so, or it's causing current ailments. And so there's a feeling here where it's kind of the same thing in some ways, where there's like minor details in your life that like, yeah, you could do better. Like maybe you can make you can have like a better job and make a little bit more income, so you're not like struggling or some, I mean, that's like kind of ridiculous to say right now because of everything going on, but that's kind of hard to do. But you see what I'm saying though? It's like a couple things, like, yeah, you know, my house is a little messy, I could pick up, like I can kind of like clean the floors or whatever, so that's fine. But it's not as like detrimental as you may be struggling with. It's like you're struggling with the fact that you know that, but it's kind of, you're still tackling with that idea of like, maybe like it just kind of gets to you, like that insecurity or an issue gets to you in some ways. But your person knows, they're aware of this. Like on a spiritual, on a spiritual, but that's the thing, is like it's spiritual. Like, do you think that this actually matters? It literally does. It doesn't even matter what you look like, because you chose this body, right? Like your spirit chose this body. I have a video about this, but maybe I'll link that below too, of like whatever. But like, you obviously chose yourself for a reason. You chose this life, like not just your body, but like the life that you're currently surrounded with, to a very large majority that has already been predestined. So duh, like of course they're aware of, do you think that they care? Like they chose their situations as well, you know, for the vast majority of it. And so it's never about the way that it's never about the details necessarily, at least in this situation. And the building is like this feeling of like you carrying the weight on your shoulders, of like having this feeling of perfection. It's like a race. It's like, I want this, connection with them. Like I want a physical connection, or I want to unite. However, I also know I have to take care of some things, and so I would prefer if it was cleaned up a little bit in my life. But then there's also that part of you that's thinking, well, oh, well, I'm also very like, how is this gonna kind of manifest? I'm feeling like all of this has to be in perfection, like not imperfect, but in absolute perfection or near perfection, where you're just gonna come up and feel just like perfect, like it's just gonna be like just everything's perfect. And that's not the case. The case is that you're working on those things, and as you work on those things, you detach from that feeling of the importance of those things from an emotional level. And so that is you spiritually connecting with them and evolving and still taking care of the minor details in ways that they need to be kind of cleaned up and less distracting energy from a physical level, but also from a spiritual level. And then when you are connected together physically, which seems to be the case here, it may take a while, but it seems to be the case here, is you're going to look at them like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And it's because they have built something for you. It's like they have created in their perfect mind of the things that are you. It's like they've kind of just, because they are watching you spiritually. And so it's like the image that I'm getting is this on the creation is a snake, and it's a snake coiled around a golden snake. And then there's trees growing in between it. And it's as if they have created this image of you, of who you are currently, and how they glorify that. They honor you, they love you, they appreciate you, they understand you. And you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, like, it's like that realization of like, in my mind, I felt that you loved me and appreciated me, but in my higher mind, but in my thought process, there was still kind of that bombardment of the insecurities and the what ifs. Even if I wasn't consciously aware of it at all times, there was still that tension. And so to see it in its entire truth, and the physical representation of what I felt spiritually, I can't believe it. And it's almost like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? I almost cannot believe it. And then it's this feeling internally, almost a dread, like a quick dread. And I'm actually drawn to the heart. So again, remember the CPR, because I don't know, this might still connect with you. But anyway, so the heart, and maybe I won't speculate, but the heart and something growing out of it, the trees growing out of it. And it's this feeling of, but do you really know me? Do you really understand me? Because it's golden, and I am a mammal, or actually I'm a reptile, but in the story. And it's like, I need something real. I need something real to survive. I don't need just you worshiping me. Like, I need something real. And it's like, surprise, of course I knew that. Of course I put some trees in there. And the roots are out, it's like how did this happen? It's like, not only do you love me and know me and appreciate me, you understand me, and you provide what I need. And it's at a point in your life where you kind of realize, again, you're really sitting in that energy that you feel in those moments that you feel at peace in the internal moment, like the mirror, what I talked about. When I look into the mirror, when I meditate, you will be more in that space. Like, you will be living that out. Peace. The soul. It's so beautiful. And that's number, I can't tell. It looks like number 1 to me. I thought it was a 4 for a second, but I think it's a 1. They said keep it at this and then that's it, like this. And I was like holding this card. I'm like, can I pull one more? And they're like, you can pull one more. I'm going, oh, it went away, it went away, it went away. But it's let go of fear now. And your children are watched over by angels. Okay. Okay, so so let me explain what. So it's like, I want to pull one more, and they're like, you can pull one more, but this is it. This is it. Okay, these are just extra, and it's potential little like whatever. You need to focus on this one. This one says your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. Okay, and this is the one that you need to listen to. Okay, beyond right now, like, okay, whatever. Keep your eyes on your targeted intention. Here's the prayer. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for helping me focus my inner vision and intention. I ask for your guidance in releasing any fears or doubts, granting me the confidence and courage to take action towards realizing my dreams. I could say more, but I'm not going to say more because I just got so many visions just now. Let's leave it at that, because you know, all of which is contained in this single prayer. So do it to it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.